Hi, Rob.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me today to share your experience of working with myself and Frankly. I really do appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time to do that.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to talking.
I'm glad my top and your background have coordinated ourselves very well.
Very good.
So, do you want to start by introducing yourself and tell me a little bit about your role in the company that you not just work for, but set up?
Yeah, so my name's Rob Minto. I'm the managing director at the Onlii, and we are a BCorp certified creative agency based in Leeds. So we're really great at creating campaigns, marketing campaigns and content for the brands that we work with. So like I say, we're a BCorp certified creative agency. That means we do things a little bit differently. So we do focus on profit like any business, but we also focus on people and planet, and that's really important to us.
Yeah, and I love that about you. And before you started working with Franklin in your context at the Onlii, what projects were you working on? What were the challenges that you were facing at the time before we started working together?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry, creative marketing industry, for over 20 years. Worked on some really massive, big global brands, worked on some amazing projects, travelled the world, had a great time, and I started to become more and more conscious about the environment. Yeah. Well, when my son was 2 or 3 years old, I started to see a lot of the wastage that was happening in marketing, a lot of the unethical practices in business, and I just a lot of things didn't sit right with me personally. And I started to read about B Corp and what that stood for. Yeah, at the time there wasn't any. Well, there was one B Corp creative agency in Leeds, and I just thought it would be really interesting to work for a creative agency that was focused on trying to do some good around people and planet, as well as making profit and not just be driven by the bottom line. And that was what inspired me to start the Onlii. And obviously, Jen, we've worked together previously in my old role, and then outside my own role we worked together on a one-to-one basis. And yeah, some of the chats we were having at the time, I think you actually introduced me to B Corp as well. And that really inspired me to start the Onlii, and really to try and do things a bit differently, to try and work with big global brands to make a profit, but also prioritize like the people in the business, prioritize trying to do some good for the planet as well. Yeah. And that's what sort of got us going on the journey.
Great.
We try and be authentic.
So when you first started working with Frankly, what were you hoping to transform?
Yeah, so I mean, when I first started working with Frankly, it was before we started the business, and I'd never started a business before, and it was really important to me and the other co-founders in the business that we did things properly from the beginning. So we started working with Frankly to really set the tone for the business. So that means we worked really closely with you, Jen, and the team to set our core values, of which we still use the same ones to this day. We set our vision for the business, and we set really the processes and tones for our board meetings and how we operate as a business. We did that by going off-site for 2 days, and it was a really valuable session for us all as a business and business leaders, because we'd never done this before.
Yeah, and it for me, there was like in that piece of work particularly, there was a real intention to make sure that you were starting off on the right foot, on a good foot from an ethics values perspective, but also starting off on the right foot from the way that you were going to work together as a team as well.
Yeah, that was exactly it. Like we'd never done this before, and the session we did with you, yeah, it really got us off on the right foot as a business. We had almost ways of working at a board level from day one after that session, which we've carried on through to this day. So yeah, it's probably quite hard for a new business to justify that spend, like, because you probably just want to get your head down and start making money as soon as possible. But the sessions we had with you just allowed us just to take a step back and really put some foundations in place so we could do things properly, ethically, and go on the right road. So yeah, I always think that's important.
Yeah. And what do you think, if you had to summarise the impact of doing that work up front, how do you think it's positively impacted the Onlii moving forward? Are you 3 years old now?
Do you know, we're nearly 5? So
Hey.
yeah, it'll be 5 years in June time since we did that piece of work. So it's about 4.5 years since we did that. Yeah. I know. So the impact of that work is, it's hard to quantify it, but it was invaluable for us because it really just set us on the right path. We had a shared vision as leaders. We had shared values and behaviours that we had to adhere to, and we all agreed to adhere to. We had shared goals where we wanted the business to go, and that enabled us to go down the path that we have done. And yeah, we've probably gone off on tangents here and there, but just having those foundations and that those shared values between the co-founders was really important, and it is really important to this day. And like I said to you, we still have those shared values.
Yeah.
And everyone in the business is aware of those.
This is quite a unique case history in some ways, because this isn't, we were in a business, we were facing some challenges, it was getting on our nerves, and we're like, let's get some help in to sort this out. Yours was almost like the reverse of that, where it's like, let's start well, so that we don't have to experience those challenges. So do you think, could you see that without having done that work, what kind of challenges you might have faced?
Good question. It's always, hindsight's always difficult to think, but if we hadn't, I mean, what's true about our business, and we've been going 4.5 years, and we're not a startup anymore, but the infrastructure in our business is really solid. We've got really good processes in place. We've got really good ways of working. We're a really solid business from a sort of infrastructure, ways of working, processes, probably more than a lot of established businesses that I've worked in the past. And I do feel that is down to the work that we did with Frankly from day one of starting the business. So if we hadn't have done that work, it would have probably been more chaotic, definitely.
Yeah, I was hearing that. I was hearing like you've really gone intentional around alignment, like making sure you're all on the same page, which has enabled you to move forward together, rather than kind of being pulled around a lot in those early days.
Exactly that, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just answer the question for you.
No, it's exactly that, yeah, because when you don't know what you're doing when you start a business, and probably, still making it up as you go along now, really, after nearly 5 years, but absolutely from the start of the business, like, didn't have a clue what I was doing, and it is really hard to start a business. So just to have those foundations and have that alignment between the co-founders is really, really important.
Yeah. And where do you think you got the most value from in our work together?
Probably the most value was because we never really sat down between all of us co-founders and sort of agreed where we wanted to go, agreed what the shared values are, agreed what the vision for the business was. A lot of it come from my head, if you like, and saying, we're going to do this, and the rest of the team going, oh great, yeah, let's do that. So it was great just to get everyone on the same page, the shared values, the shared vision. That was the most value of it, because I imagine if we hadn't have done that, it would have been a bit like, well, Rob, why are we going in that direction? Oh, well, because I say we are. Well, I don't agree with that. But because we'd done that work, it allowed, no questions asked. We're going in that direction. Everyone's just, It created a situation where we could have board meetings, and there wasn't really much friction because everyone had a shared vision and shared values in those board meetings. So there wasn't really much question about the direction the business was going in, which really helped.
Yeah. And how likely are you to recommend Frankly? What kind of things would make you go, you need to speak to Frankly?
Well, definitely would recommend Frankly, absolutely. It's a difficult question to answer because we have worked together in those three really quite different spaces, and I would recommend Frankly for all three. I mean, I got loads of value out of the one-to-one coaching personally. That really, I feel like the one-to-one coaching, I really got loads out of those sessions and really found those really inspiring. I would recommend, frankly, to a business if they had cultural problems and they wanted help to understand their business culture and their vision. But I would say that for any sort of coaching or anything like that, there needs to be an openness from the senior leadership team and almost the owners of the business to embrace it, because otherwise it just won't work. So it needs to. I feel like there really needs to be an openness to embrace it. You don't always get that, do you, with businesses?
No, that's really good advice for people, really good advice. So yeah, why should someone who's listening act now?
Someone who's listening should act now because it's not too late to change things. Like, just because you're going down a certain path in your business and it's not the right path doesn't mean you can't change the culture and change direction. That's why someone should act now. Someone should act now if they're in a startup. I definitely feel it's really important for startups to define that culture really early on. I feel it's really important for a startup to work with Frankly or a business like Frankly, just to really define what they want the culture to be in their business, and it really just sets the tone early on. It is absolutely worth investing that money up front in the business because it's helped us. It will have saved us lots of money by having to untangle things, and it's really helped set the tone for our business. So yeah, it's been invaluable, the work we've done.
Well, I love working with you, as I know that you know, because I tell you all the time. Thank you so much for taking the time and for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jen.